Good morning, students. We are in the second part of connective tissue. In the first part of the connective tissue, we have discussed about the connective tissue proper, and the second important category of the connective tissue is skeletal connective tissue, in which there are two tissues, number one cartilage and number two bone. These two tissues are related with the framework of the body, and both of them different in their characteristic features, in this sense that it is a compact but flexible, it is rigid, hard and non-flexible. There are presence of matrix in both, as you well know that in each and every type of connective tissue there are matrix present, and in the matrix the cells of the tissue embedded are scattered. Here the cartilage, it is a specialized connective tissue which is compact, firm but flexible. It forms the supporting framework of the body. Its structure, it is composed of extensive matrix into which cartilaginous cells called chondrocytes. This is the name of the cell which composed this tissue. Chondrocytes are embedded in the matrix. The matrix is made up of proteins and sugars. The cells are located in the cavities called lacunae. Here it is the one special features. The cell is located in a cavity, in a separate cavity, that is known as lacunae. It is also present in case of the bone. Occurrence, it occurs in the nose, ear, trachea and larynx. Here in the nose part, this nostril separated by a partition. That partition is made up of cartilaginous. Just like that, ear is also made up of that, and trachea, that is the respiratory tract in our body or in the body of the other animals, where the cartilaginous tissue, due to the presence of the cartilaginous tissue, the respiratory tube do not collapse. Here it provides function, it provides flexibility of the body parts and prevents damage from mechanical stresses. It smoothens bone surfaces at joints. So this is the short description of cartilage. May you look the diagram and see clearly the cavities which is known as the lacunae and the other parts. Diagram of cartilaginous tissue. Here the chondrocytes, which are the cells of this tissue, the matrix where the cells are embedded, and the cell are enclosed within a cavity, that is the lacunae. Here this show a special type of hyaline matrix with little fibers present in this type of matrix, hyaline matrix, and this chondrocytes cells are also in this picture you are looking. Understand? So this one is the description of the skeletal. Now we move towards the bone, another skeletal tissue. It is the second important skeletal connective tissue, that is the bone. It is hard, rigid and non-flexible. It forms the framework that supports the body. In the structure of the bone, you may see something special besides the lacunae, that is a cavity, and also there are presence of fine canals, that is the canaliculi. May you see here the bone cells are osteocytes. The name of the cell is here osteocytes, and are embedded in hard matrix composed of calcium and phosphorus compounds. Each bone cell is enclosed in a small cavity called lacunae. All lacunae present in the bone communicate with each other with the help of canaliculi, which is a network of fine canals. This is the special features of this structure. The bone cells of each lacunae receive food and oxygen through this canal, through these canals, and also eliminate waste materials through them. The another characteristic features, the characteristic feature of mammalian bone is presence of Haversian system. The Haversian system consists of a central Haversian canal containing blood vessels and nerve fibers. So this is the structure of the bone, where you have here, may you see that osteocytes are the cells. The matrix are made up of by the it is a hard matrix composed of calcium and phosphorus, and each bone cell is enclosed within the lacunae, like that of the cartilage, and all lacunae communicate with each other by the presence of the fine network of the canals, that is known as canaliculi, and the bone cell of each lacunae receive food and oxygen. Why this canal is there? For the transportation of the bone cells of each lacunae receive food and oxygen through these canals, and also the waste materials eliminated by this canal system, by the presence of this canal. The another characteristic features of the mammalian bone is the presence of the Haversian system. The system consists of a central Haversian canal containing blood vessels and nerve fibers. So these are the structures for the cartilage and bone which you have seen here, and these two tissues are the skeletal connective tissue. It as regard to their functions, we may tell that they can make the framework of the body, and also protect the internal organs of the body, and they are the reservoir of some minerals, and they have the several other functions which may be summarized here for your Here is the diagram of bone and bone tissue and the several functions, important functions. First, we may look about the functions. It is a hard and compact tissue and forms the rigid endoskeleton of vertebrates. Number 2, it forms the framework that supports the body and protects the internal organs. Number 3, long bones help in locomotion. Number 4, this provides surface for the attachment of muscles, and number 5, bones are reservoir of calcium and phosphorus. And here in this diagram, Haversian canal containing blood vessels and nerves showing, and here in this diagram, finer canals system and the osteocytes. These are the osteocytes cells are showing here in this diagram. So this is the descriptions of bones, and before this we have studied about the cartilage. Now in this way our skeletal connective tissue completed. Now we are in the last two connective tissue, that is the fluid connective tissue. These two connective tissue is also known as liquid connective tissue or the fluid connective tissue. What are its type? It is of two types, blood and lymph. First, we may discuss about the blood. Blood is a liquid connective tissue and it contains the two important parts, the 55% plasma. It is the matrix. It is the matrix. The matrix, that is the plasma, also composed with 90% water and 10% dissolved substances containing several organic and inorganic substances. It contains mainly the nutrient, proteins. In the proteins like the fibrinogen, globulin, globin, hormones, enzymes, etc. all are the component parts of the 10% dissolved substances, and 90% is the water which compose the plasma. And now come here again this side. Blood is a fluid connective tissue which comprises 55% of its matrix, which is known as the plasma, and 45% of blood cells. These blood cells are also known as blood corpuscles. So this is the cells of the blood. Blood corpuscles are the blood cells. It is also known as, in another word, it is also known as formed elements. So these are the elements of blood, are the cells of blood which are suspended within the plasma. ये ब्लड जो है 55% प्लाज्मा जो कि मैट्रिक्स का रोल करता है, और इस प्लाज्मा में यानी कि मैट्रिक्स में 45% जो ब्लड कार्पोसेल्स का पार्ट है, जिसे फॉर्म्ड एलिमेंट्स भी कहते हैं, जिसे ब्लड सेल्स भी कहते हैं, वो इसमें सस्पेंडेड रहता है. इस तरह से इसका जो सेल जो आपने देखा कि इसमें जो सेल्स हैं, ये अब इस सेल्स के देखिए, ये जो ब्लड सेल्स है, इट इज़ of 3 types: RBC, WBC, and the third one is the platelets or thrombocytes. This is also known as erythrocytes, This is also known as erythrocytes, and WBC is known as leukocytes. So these are the blood cells or the corpuscles of the blood. Now the plasma also helpful in the transportation process. Actually these two tissues, which are the fluid connective tissue, are related with the transportation process in animal. What is the transportation process? The system, the process by which the different essential nutrient, gases, waste materials, hormones, etc. transported inside the body from one part of the another is known as the transportation process. On the basis of this process, our circulatory system composed. It is an important component part of our circulatory system. We have a separate circulatory system for the purpose of transportation, and that system, in that system, blood acts as a fluid medium with the pumping structure heart and the tube system that comprising the arteries, veins and capillaries. All are the component parts of the circulatory system. So here those details are not required to you. You should only know about the blood and its component parts. So here is the matrix, number 1 plasma, and here is the corpuscles or blood cells, the erythrocytes. It is related with the transportation process of oxygen. It is related with the defensive process. It has some complications. What is that complications? It is I write here. WBC, the cytoplasm of the WBC may contains granular like substances and may not present granular like substances. Depending upon the presence or absence of the granules within the cytoplasm of the WBC, it is of two types: granulocytes WBC and agranulocytes WBC. Granulocyte WBC also of the 3 different types, and it has also the types. The types: eosinophil, basophil and neutrophil. It has the 3 types. Number 1, eosinophils. Number 2, basophils. And number 3, neutrophils. And here agranulocytes, again of 2 types. The first one is the monocytes and the second one is the lymphocytes. So here the different types of WBC. WBC, it contain, if we are talking about the mammalian RBC, then it non-nucleated and especially related with the transportation of oxygen, as because there is a presence of respiratory pigment that is called the hemoglobin. Here WBC, which is the white blood corpuscles, it is the red blood corpuscles, it is the white blood corpuscles, and it is the amoeboid nature of shape of the there is no any definite shape of the cell, and the platelets, it is the smaller fragments of the cells, and it helpful in the various types of defensive functions. It is may defend us from the foreign bodies. It produces antibodies. Each and every elements of the WBC and their functions, if you will be study, then you will get the answers. There are some elements which are related with the production of anti-allergic productions of the antibodies. There are some eosinophils, like it is the anti-allergic, like basophils. It possesses two different types. It is also containing the anti-allergic capability, and also contains the heparin, a type of protein which prevents the blood coagulation within the vessels, and neutrophils which acts as a phagocytic in nature, that can engulf the debris and pathogens, etc. Like here also, this is the monocytes, and here the lymphocyte. Lymphocytes is a very important parts, as because it defend us and enhance the immunity system of our body. So this is the short description of the blood. Once again, may you listen carefully, as because it is a very complex, and it is a in a detail. If you will go, then it will very comprehensive, but in a brief manner, as far एज आवर सिलेबस, जहाँ तक हम लोगों का सिलेबस है उसके अनुसार हमें जो पढ़ना है वो ये जानना है कि ब्लड एक कनेक्टिव टिश्यू है, यानी कि ब्लड एक लिक्विड कनेक्टिव टिश्यू है या फ्लूइड कनेक्टिव टिश्यू है। ब्लड के दो इम्पॉर्टेंट पार्ट हुए, एक पार्ट जो है उसका प्लाज्मा है जो कि मैट्रिक्स का काम करता है, और उसी मैट्रिक्स में ब्लड के सेल्स जो हैं आरबीसी हैं, डब्ल्यूबीसी हैं, प्लेटलेट्स उसमें सस्पेंडेड रहते हैं, बिखरे हुए रहते हैं। और डब्ल्यूबीसी के कई टाइप हैं, ये मैंने आपको बताया, एंटी एलर्जिक, प्रोडक्शन ऑफ एंटीबॉडीज, डिफेंडिंग अगेंस्ट द पैथोजेंस एंड इनगल्फिंग द डेब्रीज, द अदर थिंग्स विच आर रिलेटेड विद द फंक्शंस, एंड प्लेटलेट्स हेल्प इन द प्रोसेस ऑफ helps in the coagulation of blood, clotting of blood. Understand? So these are the some facts about the blood, the liquid connective tissue. Another one is the lymph. It is also a part of the transportation system, and lymph is also fluid connective tissue. This fluid connective tissue, and their short description, it is not included in your textbook, but I may mention in brief way. What is this? First try to understand what is this fluid, what is this liquid tissue. Actually, when blood is passing through the artery and blood is passing through the veins, the artery again terminated into the finer arterioles and veins into the venules. And when arterioles and venules meet together, they can make another finest vessels of the blood, that is known as the capillaries. From that capillaries, some parts of the blood, some components part of the blood may escape out from that capillaries. What are the parts which escaped out from the capillaries? That is plasma, number 2 WBC, lymphocytes is dominant here. Understand? But there is no platelet and no RBC. So this is the composition of the, and in the plasma there are several types of proteins present, but in comparison to the blood there is a lesser proteins present. It also transport the essential substances from blood to the body cells, and also collect the waste materials from the body cell to blood, and it defend against the pathogens due to the presence of lymphocytes. So this is the some brief description of the lymph. In this way, we have now already completed all the types of connective tissue. There are two more tissues in the animal, the muscular tissue and the nervous tissue. First, we will discuss about the muscular tissue. We have already discussed about the epithelium and their various types. Similarly, we have also discussed about the connective and its different types, connective tissue proper, skeletal, and the fluid connective tissue. Now, after all those tissues, we have only two tissue left, that is the muscular tissue and nervous tissue. First, we will discuss about the muscular tissue. The contractile tissue is known as muscular tissue. The movement of the different parts of the body are the locomotion, even the locomotion. All these activities, that means movement and locomotions, are controlled with the help of this muscular tissue. So here there is a short description of this tissue. The contractile tissue is known as muscular tissue. It occurs in the form of bundle or sheets. It is associated with the movement of body parts and locomotion of the individual. Now, what are its characteristic features, or what are the base of its structure? Like here, muscular tissues consist of long cylindrical cells called muscle cells or muscle fibers. The second important point here, muscle fibers are present in bundles and are held together by the presence of connective tissue. The third, the cells contain contractile proteins. It is the important part in this tissue, and due to this, that means presence of contractile proteins like actin and myosin. These two type of protein helpful in the contraction and expansion purposes and responsible for contraction. So here, this is the some basic features of the muscular tissue. There are some other features too, like there are some terminology which we are using in the cells. In case of the muscle cells or the muscle fibers are changed, like cytoplasm. Here in the muscular tissue, cells of the muscular tissue and their cytoplasm is known as sarcoplasm. Similarly, the plasma membrane or the cell membrane, here the plasma membrane or the cell membrane, the terminology here also changed, that is sarcolemma. So this is some important thing which you have seen here in case of the muscular tissue. Muscular tissue, now its type. Muscular tissue divisible into three different types. Number one, Number 1, skeletal or striated or voluntary muscular tissue. The second type, smooth muscular tissue. Or non-striated. The third type, cardiac muscular tissue. There are some movement of the part of the body which are under our will. We can decide whether the part will move or not, like our limb. So this is the tissue, muscular tissue, which and their movement are under our control, and that is why it is known as the voluntary. And this tissue which are present within the internal organs, they are not, and their movement are not in our will, in our control, and that is known as smooth muscle tissue and non-striated, and it is involuntary. This is involuntary. The third tissue, cardiac, it is a special tissue. It is a special tissue that made the heart, and that is why it is known as cardiac muscular tissue. It is also involuntary. Within the cell of the tissue, there is some light and dark band, and that is why it is the striated. And here also there is a cross striations with branches, and here there is no striations, and the tissue is smooth. We will look at the different types of all the types and their structure separately, then we can easily understand how they are looking. So these are the three different types of muscular tissue. Now the type 1, the first, that is the skeletal or striated or voluntary muscular tissue. Voluntary muscular tissue. Look the short structure of this muscular tissue. The structure of skeletal or striated muscle. The muscle fibers are cylindrical, elongated and non-tapering. Non-tapering एक दूसरे से इस तरफ मुड़ा हुआ नहीं, जैसे ये ऐसे आकर के ऐसे मुड़ जाता है तो ये टैपरिंग होता है. इट इज़ नॉन टैपरिंग. ये इस तरह से cylindrical, no branch. This is the structure of a cell of the muscles. Each fiber, that means the fiber this cell is known as the fibers, possessing alternate light and dark bands. Light and dark bands. Light and dark band, that is the striations. इसी को striations कहा जा रहा है. striations. ये न्यूक्लियस आप यहाँ देख रहे हैं कि किसी एक सेल में एक से अधिक न्यूक्लियस है, 1 2 3, that is the cell is the multinucleated. each fiber possessing alternate light and dark bands, giving them striated appearance, and the cells are multinucleated. They are branched. Here the cells are multinucleated. This is the structure of the skeletal or striated alveolar muscular tissue. Function associated with the voluntary movement of body and body parts. The locations here, the limb, face, neck, tongue and diaphragm. It is the partition between the thoracic cavity and the abdominal cavity. Just below the lungs and the chest, there are presence of a diaphragm, just like that. And during our inhalation and exhalation, there is a contraction and relaxations of this diaphragm takes place. That is under our will. That is why here is also presence of this muscular tissue. Now the second important type. Here is the structure and locations of the smooth muscular tissue, where there is no light and dark band. There are uninucleated cell and there is no striations. That is why it is known as smooth. It is smooth, and the cell structure is spindle shape with tapering ends. The end part is tapering. Centrally located nucleus, and where it is present? It is present visceral organs. Visceral organs like wall of stomach, esophagus, intestine, urinary bladder, blood vessels, iris of eyes, bronchi, etc. This is related with the movement, but not under our will. The movement of the peristaltic movement, like movement of the food particles within the food pipe, and similarly the movement of the contraction and relaxations of the blood vessels. All are these the functions of this muscular tissue, and a variety of functions related with a variety of organs here where it is present. Understand? So this is a simple descriptions here in connection with the smooth muscular tissue. आपको बहुत ही थोड़ा जानना है, ज़्यादा इसमें डिटेल में नहीं जाना है. एक दो फंक्शंस लिख देंगे तो भी काम चल जाएगा. मैं लिखा दे रहा हूँ वो फंक्शंस, और ये स्ट्रक्चर जिसमें आप खास ध्यान देंगे कि शेप ऑफ द सेल का ध्यान देंगे, स्ट्रिएशंस का ध्यान देंगे. अब तक जो दो आपने देखा उसमें एक था आपका स्ट्रिएटेड, एक ये स्मूथ है, वो मल्टीन्यूक्लिएटेड था, ये यूनिन्यूक्लिएटेड है. इन्हीं सारी चीज़ों का आप खास तौर से ध्यान देंगे. यू मे focus on all these things and may you try to differentiate between the three different types of muscular tissues later on after finishing all the three different types. There are some important functions of non-striated, unstriated or the smooth muscular tissue. May you write down these functions like the peristaltic, food movement within the from the esophagus, from the mouth to esophagus, from esophagus to stomach, and there are also presence of sphincter, that is a regulator, and this is a type of regulator and which opens, like it is when it is present in the esophagus, it will open into the stomach. So how much food particles will be enter into the stomach, it will be decided by the presence of this sphincter that is made from this muscular tissue. These muscles are found in iris and control the amount of light entering the eye, helping in vision. So this is the functions of muscular. Now the third type of the muscular tissue, that is the cardiac muscular tissue. It is confined to the heart. Cardiac muscular tissue. It is confined to the heart. It is confined to heart. That means the heart is made of by the cardiac muscular tissue. The structure of the tissue is similar to that of the skeletal muscular tissue, as because here is also striations, and but the nucleus is not here multinucleated body, it is uninucleated body, and the fibers having the branches. Understand? Fiber having the branches, the uninucleate, and the striations is here, and due to the presence of this cardiac muscular tissue that confined to heart, the heart untiredly, continuously, without fail, when it is failed, that means death. Understand? That's why the regular contraction and the expansion of the heart led to the transportation of the blood to the different parts of the body, and from the different parts of the body, when deoxygenated blood come to the heart, it again, with the help of the contraction and expansion, go to the lungs. Understand? May you see here the diagram and try to understand the structure. This is the diagram of cardiac muscle, where you may see the uninucleate cell and branching of the muscle fibers, and there is a cross striations. All these things are important, and try to differentiate between the three different types of muscular tissue. This is the last animal tissue, after this, the last animal tissue which are included in our syllabus, that is the nervous tissue. Nervous tissue. The nervous tissue is such type of animal tissue which are considered as the responsive tissue. It can take responses. Each and every organism, and the cell has also ability to respond according to the external environmental changing. This changing, how come to the body, how comes to the cell, how it communicate, and how after communication, after interpretation, now the according to the stimuli, according to the message, according to the information, the body will take response. That is all related with the nervous tissue. The nervous tissue and the cells of the nervous tissue is known as the neuron. We here look about the structure of a typical neuron and their different parts. Understand? Structure of neuron. Nerve tissue composed with neuron, that is the nerve cell or neuron, and this is the structure of nerve cell or the neuron. How you understand this structure? Here, this is the nucleus, the important part, the cytoplasm, and within the cytoplasm there are granules, Nissal's granules. This is known as Nissal's granules. This is the membrane, plasma membrane, like that of the other animal cell and their membrane. And actually the main point is here, structure based structure of neuron consists of the following: important part. Number one, cell body or cytone or perikaryon. This is the cell body. This is the cell body, and it is also known as cytone or perikaryon. The first important part. The second important part is known as cytoplasmic processes. That means the processes which arises from the cytoplasmic portion, where you have seen here the nucleus, and this is the Nissal's granules, and the other things of the cytoplasm. From this cytoplasm, there are two processes. The first process is here, which you are looking here. This is known as dendron. But you may see here there are branches. So these branches of the dendron, if there are branches, then that type of dendron is known as dendrites. So without branch, if there will be no branch, then may you call it dendron only. If there is no branch, then may you call it dendron, and when there is a branch, may you call it dendrites. Understand? So here is the first cytoplasmic processes, that is the dendrite. The second cytoplasmic processes which are arising here, the first cytoplasmic process, dendron or dendrite, is shorter one with branches. The second part, that means from here to this end, that is known as axon, and this is the second cytoplasmic process. It is longer but without any branch. So this is the structure of a neuron. How the stimulus means whatever may be the environmental changing, that changing may be the different types. सपोज जैसे आपको अगर किसी ने कोई मैसेज दिया है, तो वो मैसेज भी एक स्टिमुलस का काम कर सकता है. किसी ने आपको कहा कि उठो, तो ये जो एक मैसेज है उठने का, उसकी आप किसी पार्टी या फंक्शन में गए हैं, वहाँ पे आपको डिनर के लिए कॉल गए, लेट अस कम एंड मूव फॉर डिनर, तो आप वहाँ से सारे लोग उठ करके डिनर के टेबल पे जा रहे हैं. तो ये एक तरह का जो रिस्पांस आपने लिया, ये भी स्टिमुलस का ही रिस्पांस है. वहाँ स्टिमुलस है कि भाई हमें खाना है. तो ये स्टिमुलस कि आपके पाम पे अगर किसी ने अगर कोई गर्म चीज़ को रख दिया, हॉट ऑब्जेक्ट या वेरी कोल्ड ऑब्जेक्ट दैट कैन नॉट टॉलरेबल, देन व्हाट विल हैपन, यू मे ट्राई टू पुल. तो दिस आर ऑल इज द डेंड्राइट्स, स्टिमुलस एंड देयर रिस्पॉन्सेस. अब ये किस तरह से ये कम्युनिकेट होता है इस न्यूरॉन के द्वारा, हाउ इट कम्युनिकेट. तो ये फर्स्ट जो पार्ट है, ये स्टिमुलस को रिसीव करता है. it is responsible for to detect the stimulus. After detecting the stimulus, it is now enter into the cell body, and now it change into the nerve impulse. The same stimulus now when it come under the cell body, now it is the nerve impulse. Now this nerve impulse from the cell body travel to the axon, all along the length of the axon, and it is the ending part. Ending part, nerve end is axon, ending, axon ending part, and nerve ending may you call, neuron ending. So this side it come, and when the last part of this neuron may connected with the another part of the neuron, and that will communicate like that. Here are dendrites. Once again, the messages or the stimulus may be travel from this part, the last end part of this neuron or axon is now communicate with the second or the another part of the neuron, and that another part of the neuron is not the ending of axon. No, it is the dendrite that will now detect the message, that will now detect the stimulus. अब ये जो दूसरा न्यूरॉन को ये ट्रांसफ़र करेगा, तो दूसरा न्यूरॉन का एक्सॉन वाला एंडिंग पार्ट इसको रिसीव नहीं कर रहा, बल्कि स्टिमुलस को डिटेक्ट करने वाला जो पार्ट है वो क्या है, डेंड्राइट्स है, और उसी के द्वारा ये फिर वहाँ रिसीव होकर फिर उसके सेल बॉडी में चला जाएगा, फिर वो एक्सॉन में चला जाएगा, फिर एक्सॉन एंडिंग से फिर ये इस तरह से देयर इज़ ए कम्युनिकेशन. तो आप यहाँ पे लिख सकते हैं, इसको कंप्लीट कर लीजिए. साइटोप्लाज्मिक प्रोसेसेस आर ऑफ टू टाइप्स, दैट इज dendrites, and the second one is the axon. So this is the structure, a brief idea about the neuron. Here is the short description of the neuron which you have seen, and in this way we have completed our this part of the topic, that is the tissue. Both animal and plant tissues we have already completed. Nervous tissue we have already completed, animal tissues also, and we have earlier completed the plant tissues. That means tissue topic, the chapter number 6 completed. And from this topic, what are the different questions which are present in your textbook exercises, and also within the different pages of the topic, you should pick up the questions from there and try to make a complete notes. Best wishes for you, and best wishes for the next topic which we are going to start in our next class, that is the chapter number 15, improvement in food resources.